So thanks for joining me again for this fourth episode of Moocall's 10 Talk series. Just in this episode, what we're going to be going through is the importance of an accurate and efficient heat detection system and how it can improve your conception rates throughout your breeding season. So just on the topics for discussion, so I know the majority of people watching this are probably farmers and know this already, but I'm just going to go through briefly what estrus or heat is and how it happens actually, or how it occurs in cows. Then I will be going through what signs or behavioural patterns cows portray when they are in heat. I will be going through the different factors that affect heat behaviour and the importance of having a defined breeding programme in place. So obviously, if you're using artificial insemination, timing of your AI is critical to ensure that all your animals are holding after being served. We will then just take a glance at how you can become more efficient during the breeding season and using an accurate heat detection system. The benefits of a heat detection system and the rewards it can bring to a farmer. And finally, the value of a teaser or vasectomized bull for AI use and how to prepare your stock bull to ensure a successful breeding season. So what is meant by estrus in cows and heifers? Well, there are two main hormones that a female cow produces during their estrus cycle, and they are primarily progesterone, which is a hormone for pregnancy, and estrogen, which is the main responsible hormone for heat activity and behavior. Now, cows only come into heat when their progesterone levels drop and when their estrogen levels actually rise. So as you can just see that highlighted in the cycling diagram there below. Your average cow reproductive cycle is every 21 days until she actually becomes pregnant again. Whereas with the heifers, it can vary as they may come into heat a few days sooner than this, so it can range from between 18 to 22 days. Heifers do begin to cycle around 12 months of age, with their body weight being the critical factor in that and determining when their puberty actually occurs. And finally on this, after calving, cows usually take around 1 month to start cycling again normally. So any disruption to this process can be one of the most defining causes for poor fertility, and mainly brought on by excessive loss in their body condition after calving. So when your cows are in heat, what signs should you be looking out for? There are lots of different indicators that cows are coming into heat, but primarily the main observation is when a cow is coming into standing heat and are waiting to be mounted by the bull or other cows in the field. Typically, this mounting activity wouldn't last for any longer than 3 to 10 seconds in length. Other signs then that are included are the likes of mucus buildup, which looks like a long, clear, elastic strands which hang from the cow's vulva and can be seen as smeared across their tail or their thighs just from when they're swishing. Swelling and reddening around the vulva is also very evident coming into heat as well. And you'll also normally see the likes of restlessness and a lot of movement for a cow that is coming into heat and a cow that is showing signs of estrus. After signs that the cows after being mounted is another one where you'd see the back of their flanks after being rubbed, or the hair that's flattened just at the cow's rump, where the bull may have been mounting the cow or another cow may have been mounting the cow. It just causes that bit of wear around that part of the body. Sniffing around the vulva by any other cows in the fields is also another clear sign that heat is coming on. And finally there, where you see a group of cows, particularly in the outdoors, and you look down the fields and you see a group of cows pushing together and there's a lot of activity around that, usually those clusters can result in cows that are one cow becoming around in that group and all the other cows are just interacting with her. So there are a lot of different factors that actually affect heat behaviour, and it all starts with your setup during breeding. So if you're breeding indoors, it is crucial to have the sufficient level of space required for your cows to express heat behaviours in. Otherwise, look, it's just going to result in cows getting injured and heat's being missed by the farmer. From an outdoor breeding perspective, it is vital that you have put a workable, easily managed and efficient breeding program in place before starting it. So if you're AIing cows, try to avoid adding stress to moving animals between paddocks, because it can reduce the chances of them conceiving. Looking out for any feet or leg problems, it can affect cows expressing signs of heat, particularly around mounting, as they might find it too difficult or sore to do so. So address any issues like this just after calving. Then with the volume of cows, if if cattle are forced into breeding in a crowded area, such as the likes of the collecting yard near a milking parlour, heat behaviour actually can be suppressed significantly. The climate then and our temperature is something that we do see because of all the countries that we are in with the Mucol heat detection system. It can affect more so the energy levels for displaying the presence of heat. So cows' energy levels more so in hotter climates would decrease an awful lot more compared to in colder climates where there'd be higher levels of activity actually seen. Finally then, other factors such as an incorrect pre-breeding nutritional intake, poor body condition, and even the time of day, where up to 75% of your heats actually start at night time, where the overall herd activity levels are a lot lower. So then, having a defined breeding plan prepared in advance of your season kicking off is very important. If a farmer's time is one of the most undervalued assets sometimes, where you don't use your own time efficiently or have a program thought out, you're just setting yourself up for an unorganized breeding season. Allow cows to interact, especially during the evening and very early mornings where most of your mountain activity actually occurs. And this is where your space is vital for both outdoors and indoors. Then whether you're using a breeding chart or a whiteboard or even recording your service dates in the likes of an app such as Mucol Breed Manager, you need to keep a full track of each cow's cycling history. Where cows are obviously holding insemination, you will expect to have your calve and due dates then recorded, but for any animals showing irregular cycles, that you need to identify those early, and your vet may be called just to intervene and provide further assistance. So, as I mentioned previously, continue to provide appropriate levels of feed to maintain your body condition for each cow throughout the breeding season, and finally, have your bulls ready. If you're planning to use AI for the following spring, vasectomized bulls are the best heat detectors that you will get for this purpose. So ensure to have them well in advance of your season taking place to get the procedure done around 10 to 14 months of age, at least 5 to 6 weeks before you decide to actually let them out with the cows. But then finally, just for stock bulls, pick them wisely and get in sires that can maintain overall strong herd genetics, especially for your heifers, and also just not to put larger bulls with your heifers to avoid any problems coming into your calving season. So next, just on this slide, I'm just going to be going through your timing of insemination for AI. So firstly, as most of you probably already know, ovulation occurs approximately 25 to 32 hours after the onset of standing heat. So this is why your timing of AI is critical. The AM to PM rule was developed as a guide just to ensure the timing is actually caught right. So how this works, for example, if a cow is seen or picked up in a standing heat in the morning, you should have them inseminated that evening and vice versa. So if the cow is round in the evening, then she should be ideally served the following morning. For AI in cows, you need to have the suitable handling facilities in place to safely insert straws and keep stress levels to a minimum, just to ensure that they're actually conceiving to that serve. The key to it all is to choose your straws wisely to suit your herd. Now, do your research before you go into season, and if you're trying to choose your straws to suit high pedigree animals, get advice from a local technician for assistance, or even contact a specific breed society. Finally, the farmer must be trained correctly or get an experienced AI technician just to carry out the servicing of cows and to insert straws correctly. Poor timing of servicing in cows can actually result in poor conception rates and impact your breeding performance then coming into the remainder of your season. So moving on, as I mentioned previously, having complete and accurate records, including all your heat, service and veterinary examination findings, are a necessity to calculate your overall heat detection efficiency. There is a difference between accuracy and efficiency in heat detection. So an inaccurate heat detection does occur when cattle are inseminated, but they're not truly in heat. And in terms of inefficient heat detection, it just simply refers to, I suppose, how many heats are being unobserved or actually missed. So many reproductive problem herds do experience both inaccurate and inefficient heat detection. Inadequate heat detection does affect overall herd profitability in various different ways. I suppose, number one, any undetected heats resulting in longer calving intervals, lower lifetime milk production, and ultimately fewer calves on the ground. Then two, if you're breeding any cows that are unsuitable for insemination, it'll lead to a negative effect on your conception rates, wasted semen, and your time ultimately. You know, overall, it's very costly. Then 3 would be a combination of unrecognised heats and low conception rates leading to the culling of actual normal cows that are cycling correctly. And 4, then, if you're mistakenly inseminating any in-calf cows, it can cause some cases of abortion. So there are many benefits in using aids to ensure a successful breeding program, whether it's a visual aid like tail paint, scratch cards, or even a chin ball harness, or if you're using an electronic aid such as the Moo Call heat collar. A lot of time, effort, and money can be definitely saved. There are huge benefits in utilising a teaser for AI use. So I'll just start with this, but what is a teaser? Because I am conscious that some people may not be familiar with the terminology, but a teaser bull is a bull that has had a vasectomy procedure carried out. So you might ask me, why is this being done? Well, when a bull is vasectomized, they don't lose any of the essential hormones actually for heat detection, and the main one being testosterone, which differs from the method of castration where they do lose this. This makes the bull just infertile, and he cannot actually impregnate the cows, but he still can pick up on heat activity. So it is one of the most, if not the most, effective way to detect cows in heat today. Cost-wise, for a vasectomy, it can range anywhere from 90 to 100 euro in Ireland, depending on your local vet's fees. And the procedure should not be conducted till at least 5 to 6 weeks before your breeding program actually is starting. Through our own use of teaser bulls on test farms that we have across the country, and from feedback that we do get from customers, the breeds that we find actually that work best are your Holstein Friesians and Angus bulls, as they're, I suppose, the more quite hardy of breeds, and are very active around picking up on estrus. Our recommendations are to change the teaser bull on a yearly basis, as when they do get older, they can tend to become a bit more wicked. So ideally, you want to be using a bull around 16 months of age. If there are cows cycling in the field and the bull is going between different cows, they can show more signs of dominance, and like all bulls, pose a threat if they're not being respected to. And finally then, just on this, just for larger herds in particular, keep teasers fresh and keep them active. If you run a teaser bull with 80 to 100 cows, for example, the bull can actually be worn out a lot faster when he's trying to keep up with this sort of a volume and trying to pick up on heat daily activity. So have spare bulls on standby and rotate them regularly from being on duty, just so they can have a break and recover. The final thing that I'm just going to cover in this episode is around stock bulls. So the big question each year around using a stock bull is your bull fertile? It's so important to just ensure that your bull is fertility tested well in advance of the season taking place. Once he's able to produce good quality semen, you have that peace of mind that you're actually maximizing the genetic potential and the quality of your calf crop coming into the spring. I did do a video back at the end of July this year that was actually discussing stock bulls, and I did touch shortly on body condition. So ideally, you want to have your bull with a body condition, holding a body condition score of approximately 3 to 3.25 before he's actually put out with the batch of cows. So is your bull active? He needs to be ready for repeated mounting, and that he can keep up with the volume of cows that you have cycling at any one time. Ratio-wise, you should be looking at no more to between 40 to 50 cows running with the bull at any one time, just to make sure that you're picking up on all your cows that are bulling. It is good practice to provide a general health check and an assessment of good feet and leg stance each year before your breeding season kicks off. And it's just to also avoid any drastic changes to his feeding, and warrant that all dosing and vaccinating is carried out in advance of the bull going out with the cows. Finally, monitor, and monitor again. You just can't do it enough. One thing that we hear a lot about from our potential and existing customers when using stock bulls is that they just let the bull out and he will work away, and sure, in a couple of months' time, we'll hope that they're all in calf. We want farmers to look at it from a different perspective and understand that through monitoring your bull and your cows, that you are able to recognise exactly what your bull is doing 24/7. It helps you to identify any reproductive problems with cows early on in your season and know what cows have been served and that your bull is working. Being able to flick through your expected calf and due dates and eliminating that need for scanning is something that we at Moo Call take great pride in being able to achieve with our users of our heat detection system. So in conclusion, I'd just like to thank you all again for listening to this fourth episode of Mucall's 10 Talk series. We are still open to a Q&A there on our Instagram page. So if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out and we'll get in touch back with you. Just a reminder, we have our competition still going on our Instagram page for that free calving sensor, and it is running until the end of this week, just like our ploughing offers that are available too on our calving sensor and Mucall heat detection system. They are the best prices that you'll ever see them at. So really, if you are interested, take advantage of them while stocks last on them. For any further information on Mucall or our products, please do give us a call or visit our website at www.mucall.com. And thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow.